Your night shapes your next day. That's the truth most people overlook. We often think success is built during the morning hustle, the work hours, the grind, but the truth is it begins long before that, in the quiet, unseen hours before you fall asleep. What you think, feel, and focus on before you rest doesn't disappear into the darkness. It sinks deep into your subconscious mind. And that's where the next day begins. The 1% of people who consistently stay ahead of everyone else know this. They don't go to bed mindlessly, they go to bed with intention. While most people end their day scrolling through their phones, watching endless videos, or reliving their frustrations, the top performers protect their nights like gold. They understand that the brain never truly shuts down. It works while you sleep. It processes what you feed it. If you give it worry, stress, and negativity, it multiplies that energy overnight. But if you feed it purpose, gratitude, and belief, it starts building the mental and emotional foundation for a powerful morning. The night isn't a time to escape, it's a time to prepare. That's why your bedtime routine is one of the most powerful tools you have to shape your future. Think about it. Your body rests at night, but your mind continues its work. It reviews your thoughts, organizes your memories, and writes the emotional script for your next day. That means your last thoughts before sleep are more than just random mental chatter. They are commands. They tell your subconscious mind what kind of reality to create when you wake. The 1% understand this law of the mind and use it to their advantage. They don't allow random negativity to shape their destiny. They make the decision to take charge of their inner world, even in those final moments before sleep. Imagine two people going to bed. One lies awake thinking about all that went wrong, the missed opportunity, the harsh words, the mistake made earlier in the day. They toss and turn, replaying pain, doubt, and frustration. The other person, however, spends those same minutes thinking about what went right, what they learned, what they're grateful for. They picture themselves waking up strong, confident, and focused. They fall asleep in peace. When both wake the next morning, the difference is dramatic. One starts the day heavy, drained, and anxious. The other wakes up light, clear, and ready to move forward. The only difference was what they focused on before sleep. That's why the 1% treat nighttime as a sacred transition, not a throwaway routine. They end their days with gratitude and purpose. They may journal a few thoughts, read something inspiring, or simply sit in silence to calm their minds. They know that what you think about before bed becomes the soil where tomorrow's thoughts grow. When you close your eyes, you're either planting weeds or planting seeds. The choice is always yours. But here's what makes this concept even more powerful. When you deliberately end your day with positive focus, you actually train your nervous system to relax and reset. Your sleep becomes deeper, your stress levels drop, and your mind begins to recover faster. That's why top performers can handle pressure better than others. They don't carry their chaos into the night. They release it. They start each day fresh because they've already cleaned the emotional slate the night before. You don't need to be wealthy, famous, or exceptionally talented to do this. All it takes is awareness and discipline. Start by noticing your nighttime habits. Are you giving your mind peace or chaos before bed? Are you feeding it inspiration or distraction? If your nights are filled with random noise, your days will reflect that confusion. But if your nights are filled with focus and gratitude, your mornings will reflect that peace. Every night, you have the power to shape your next sunrise. Before you close your eyes, think about what you want to feel tomorrow. See yourself achieving your goals, handling your challenges with calm confidence, and moving through your day with clarity. Don't wait for morning to be motivated. Create motivation before you sleep. You'll wake up already aligned with purpose. The difference between the 1% and the rest isn't luck, and it's not just hard work. It's awareness. The awareness that small, consistent mental choices lead to massive results over time. The night is your reset button. It's your secret training ground. If you learn to use it wisely, you'll wake up not just rested, but renewed, ready, and ahead of everyone else who wasted their night on meaningless noise. So tonight, make a choice. Put your phone away. Take a deep breath. Reflect on your blessings. Forgive yourself for anything that didn't go as planned. Set a clear intention for tomorrow. Whisper to yourself that you are capable, prepared, and strong. As you drift into sleep, let those thoughts be the last thing your mind hears. That's how the 1% do it. Not by magic, not by chance, but by mastering their nights, so that their days unfold with purpose. Because your future doesn't start when the sun rises. It starts when you decide that your nights will no longer be wasted. They will be used to build the life you were meant to live. Visualization is the secret weapon of the 1%. It's one of those powerful tools that most people underestimate because it looks so simple. But make no mistake, what you see in your mind, you eventually hold in your hand. The world's most successful people know that before something becomes real in the physical world, it must first exist in the mental world. That's why before they go to sleep, they close their eyes and begin to see their future. They picture themselves succeeding. They see the details, the emotions, and the results. They use the quiet stillness of night to train their minds to believe in what's coming, not to dwell on what's missing. Visualization before sleep is powerful because it connects directly with your subconscious mind, the part of your brain that never turns off. When you visualize before bed, your subconscious takes those mental images and works on them while you sleep. It starts building bridges, connecting ideas, and aligning your emotions with your goals. Most people let their subconscious work on fear, worry, and failure, but the 1% program it with vision, faith, and success. They know that the mind doesn't distinguish between what's vividly imagined and what's real. When you repeatedly see something in your mind, your brain begins to treat it as a lived experience, creating the confidence and certainty you need to make it happen. Think about athletes who win championships. Before they ever step onto the field, they've already seen themselves crossing the finish line thousands of times in their minds. They've visualized every move, every sound, every heartbeat of that victory. They don't leave it to chance. They rehearse success until it feels natural. The same principle applies to anyone who wants to get ahead in life. When you visualize your goals before bed, you're rehearsing the life you want to live. You're training your brain to recognize opportunities, take bold action, and stay focused no matter what challenges come your way. The beauty of visualization at night is that your mind is calm and receptive. The noise of the world fades, and you have direct access to the deepest parts of your consciousness. In those quiet minutes before sleep, the 1% close their eyes and imagine. They don't imagine vaguely, they see the details vividly. They feel the emotions of already having what they desire, the pride, the gratitude, the peace. They might imagine walking into a room with confidence, finishing an important project successfully, or seeing their dreams unfold with clarity. The goal isn't just to think about success, it's to feel it as if it's already yours. This emotional connection is what makes visualization so powerful. When you imagine something vividly enough, your body responds as if it's real. Your heart rate changes, your hormones adjust, and your emotions align. You begin to carry that energy into your waking life. The 1% understand that when they go to sleep feeling successful, their mind wakes up searching for proof of that success. They begin to act, speak, and think like the person they imagined the night before. Most people underestimate how much of life is mental. We live in a world that celebrates hard work and discipline, and yes, those are vital, but mental clarity and emotional alignment are what make hard work effective. Without them, you can work endlessly and still feel stuck. Visualization is what gives direction to your effort. It's like setting the GPS before you start driving. The 1% never go to bed lost in confusion. They set their mental destination first. Another reason visualization works so well is that it removes doubt. When you repeatedly see yourself succeeding, your brain stops fighting you with what-ifs. Instead, it starts asking, how can I make this happen? That simple shift from fear to faith changes everything. You start to think strategically, not emotionally. You begin to make decisions that match the person you want to become. And all of that starts with what happens in those final minutes before you drift into sleep. Anyone can begin this practice tonight. You don't need any tools, money, or experience, just a few quiet minutes. Before you go to bed, close your eyes and take a deep breath. Picture your ideal tomorrow. See yourself waking up energized, moving through your day with confidence, handling challenges with grace. Visualize the kind of person you want to be. Calm, focused, successful. Feel the pride of accomplishing your goals. Imagine people congratulating you, opportunities unfolding, and peace surrounding you. The more real it feels, the more power it has. Do this every night. Don't skip it just because it seems simple. Remember, consistency turns imagination into reality. At first, it might feel like a game, but over time, you'll notice changes. You'll wake up with clearer thoughts, sharper focus, and stronger energy. You'll start to see coincidences that align with what you visualized, but they're not coincidences at all. They're the result of your mind attracting what it believes in. The 1% use visualization like a muscle. They strengthen it through daily practice. When they go through challenges, they don't imagine failure. They imagine overcoming. When life gets uncertain, they don't focus on fear. They focus on the picture of victory. They've learned that if you can see it clearly, you can do it confidently. So tonight, when you lie down to sleep, remember that your mind is listening. Give it something powerful to work with. Don't feed it worry or regret. Feed it faith, vision, and direction. Visualize the best version of yourself living the life you desire. See it clearly, feel it deeply, and believe it fully. Then let sleep take over, trusting that your subconscious is working to make that vision real. Because that's what the 1% do every night. They build their tomorrow in their mind before the world ever sees it. And that's why they wake up already ahead of everyone else. Your subconscious mind is the most powerful force working inside you, and it never sleeps. Even when you rest, it keeps processing your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, quietly shaping the way you experience life. The 1%, the people who rise to the top and stay there, understand this secret. They know that the quality of what you feed your subconscious determines the quality of what you live. Before they go to bed, they make sure they're filling their inner world with faith, confidence, and peace, not fear, anxiety, and doubt. They don't allow their last thoughts of the day to be about failure or stress. They end their night with focus and intention because they know that what goes into the mind before sleep grows in the mind during sleep. Every night, millions of people unknowingly program their subconscious with negativity. They replay arguments, mistakes, worries, and regrets. They think about what could go wrong tomorrow, and they allow their mind to spiral into fear-based scenarios. Then they wake up drained and confused, wondering why they feel anxious before the day even begins. It's because the subconscious has been working all night on the wrong blueprint. The 1%, however, use those same hours differently. They understand that the subconscious is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant before bed, it will water and grow while you sleep. That's why they choose to plant seeds of faith, gratitude, and confidence. Before sleeping, they affirm who they are and what they're capable of. They don't go to bed thinking, I can't do this. They go to bed thinking, I'm ready for more. This small mental shift changes everything. Faith-filled thoughts create strong mornings. When you feed your subconscious faith, you wake up with purpose. When you feed it fear, you wake up with panic. The subconscious doesn't argue with you. It simply accepts what you tell it repeatedly. That's why the 1% guard their last thoughts carefully. They know that those final few minutes before falling asleep are some of the most powerful moments of the day. Science even supports this idea. The brain moves through different states before sleep, and one of them, the theta state, is the gateway to your subconscious mind. In that relaxed, half-awake, half-dreaming state, your mind is wide open to suggestion. The words you say to yourself, the emotions you feel, the thoughts you focus on, all of them slip directly into your subconscious programming. That's why bedtime is not the moment to overthink, complain, or fill your head with negativity. It's the moment to strengthen your inner world with faith-filled declarations. The 1% understand this rhythm of the mind and use it like a tool. They speak calm, strength, and victory into their subconscious before drifting off to sleep. Faith is not just a spiritual concept, it's a psychological state. When you choose to focus on belief rather than fear, your brain chemistry changes. You produce more serotonin, your stress hormones decrease, and your body relaxes into a deeper, more healing sleep. The next day you feel lighter, more confident, and more capable. That's not luck. That's intentional mental conditioning. The 1% don't leave their mental state to chance, they program it. They train themselves to believe that good things are coming, that they can handle whatever challenges arise, and that they are guided by purpose. Fear, on the other hand, is like a parasite. It feeds on your peace and grows stronger when you give it attention. When you lie in bed thinking about what might go wrong, Your subconscious takes that image and turns it into a mental reality. It begins preparing for failure instead of success. And then, without realizing it, you wake up already expecting things to go wrong. The energy you carry into your day starts to attract exactly what you feared. That's how cycles of worry repeat themselves. The 1% break that cycle by replacing fear with faith. They understand that you can't just stop negative thoughts, you must replace them with positive ones. So before bed, they might repeat powerful affirmations like, "I am at peace with today, I am attracting new opportunities," or "Tomorrow will be a great day." These statements aren't wishful thinking, they're instructions to the subconscious mind. The more you repeat them, the more your inner world aligns with them. Over time, your actions and emotions follow suit. This is how people transform their lives from the inside out, not through luck, but through intentional mental discipline. Feeding your subconscious with faith also means letting go of emotional clutter before bed. The 1% don't carry the day's anger, guilt, or frustration into the night. They release it. They forgive others, forgive themselves, and mentally close the chapter on the day. This emotional clearing allows their subconscious to rest in a state of peace, not turmoil. When they wake up, they feel renewed, not heavy. They've learned that faith is not just about believing in a better tomorrow, it's about trusting that what happened today had a purpose too. If you want to apply this practice, start small. Each night before bed, take 2 minutes to focus on gratitude and faith. Think of 3 things that went right today, even if they're small. Then visualize something good happening tomorrow. Say to yourself, everything is working for my growth. Feel that belief in your heart. It's simple, but it works because it aligns your subconscious with positive energy. Over time, this habit reshapes the way you think, sleep, and live. The 1% don't have superhuman abilities. They simply use the mind God gave them with precision and purpose. They understand that the subconscious is like a quiet servant. It listens, it obeys, and it creates. That's why they speak to it with power and faith. They know that when they go to bed believing in strength, peace, and abundance, they wake up in alignment with those very things. So tonight, instead of replaying your worries, replay your victories. Instead of imagining the worst, imagine the best. Let faith be the last voice you hear before sleep takes over. Your subconscious will do the rest. Feed it faith, not fear, and watch how your mornings, your mood, and your entire life begin to transform. That's the difference between the 1% and everyone else. They don't just dream, they train their minds to believe. At the end of every day, you have a choice. You can relive the pain of what went wrong, or you can rewrite the story in your mind and release it. The 1% understand this truth deeply. They know that peace is power, and emotional balance is the foundation of high performance. Before they go to sleep, they don't replay their failures or regrets. They consciously reframe them. They take the events of the day and transform them into lessons, into gratitude, into something that strengthens them, instead of draining them. This process isn't denial, it's mastery. It's the art of controlling what your mind holds on to before you surrender to sleep. Every human being experiences moments of disappointment, frustration, and doubt. But what separates the successful from the stuck is how they process those emotions at the end of the day. Most people let their minds become a battlefield at night. They replay every wrong word, every mistake, every missed opportunity, until their heart feels heavy and their mind becomes restless. That energy follows them into sleep, and they wake up carrying yesterday's weight into a brand new morning. The 1% don't allow that. They know that emotional clutter poisons the mind and weakens the spirit. So, they make it a nightly ritual to let go, to clean their mental space before they rest. Rewriting the day doesn't mean pretending that everything was perfect. It means finding meaning in everything that happened. If something went wrong, they look for the lesson. If someone was unkind, they remind themselves to respond with grace next time. If they failed at something, they see it as feedback, not finality. This mindset allows them to rest in peace, knowing that even the bad moments carried value. When they close their eyes, they carry wisdom, not worry. This simple shift in how they process the day is one of the greatest reasons they stay emotionally resilient and ahead of everyone else. The truth is, your mind needs closure before it can rest. If you go to sleep with unresolved frustration, your subconscious keeps working on it all night. You wake up tired, restless, and emotionally unbalanced. But if you take a few moments to review the day from a position of calm reflection, you give your brain permission to relax. The 1% often practice gratitude journaling or mental reflection as a bedtime ritual. They ask themselves, what did I learn today? What am I thankful for? This helps them focus on progress, not perfection. Gratitude instantly shifts energy from stress to peace. It tells the subconscious that life is working for you, not against you. Emotional strength isn't built in moments of ease. It's built in moments of reflection. The more you can look at your day without judgment, the faster you grow. The 1% know that life won't always go their way, but they refuse to end the day defeated. Instead, they end it empowered. They say to themselves, I did my best today, and tomorrow I'll do better. That affirmation creates a calm acceptance that allows them to sleep deeply and wake up with renewed motivation. They understand that you can't control every event, but you can always control your interpretation of it. And when you change your interpretation, you change your emotions. Rewriting the day also protects your mental health. Holding on to anger, regret, or fear creates invisible tension in your body. You might think you've moved on, but your subconscious remembers. It keeps the emotion alive, replaying it in different forms: irritability, sadness, or anxiety. That's why emotional release before bed is so important. The 1% have learned to acknowledge their feelings honestly, express them internally, and then let them go. Some do it through prayer, others through journaling, or simply by speaking to themselves with compassion. They remind themselves that mistakes don't define them, and setbacks are just setups for comebacks. When you make this a nightly habit, your sleep improves dramatically. You stop tossing and turning because your mind is no longer holding on to unfinished stories. Your dreams become calmer, your rest deeper, and your mornings brighter. You wake up ready to create, not to complain. Emotional balance becomes your baseline. You start to move through your days with grace because your nights are spent in peace. This is why the 1% seem calm even under pressure. They've trained their minds to reset every night. It's easy to underestimate how powerful this simple act can be, but think of it like cleaning a room. If you never tidy up, clutter builds, and soon the space feels overwhelming. Your mind works the same way. Every experience adds emotional weight. Without nightly reflection, that weight accumulates until it affects your focus, confidence, and creativity. But when you end each day by releasing what no longer serves you, you wake up lighter. You think clearer. You act faster. You move with purpose instead of pressure. You don't need a complicated routine to do this, just a few minutes of honesty and intention. When you lie down at night, close your eyes and think of your day. Instead of saying, I failed, say, I learned. Instead of thinking, that person upset me, think, I grew from that experience. Instead of regretting what didn't go your way, express gratitude for what did. Tell yourself today was another step forward, and tomorrow will be even better. Feel the peace that comes with acceptance. Breathe deeply and let go of everything that doesn't belong in your tomorrow. The 1% don't just control their time, they control their emotions. They understand that emotional peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. You can't think clearly, create freely, or lead effectively if you carry chaos within. That's why they guard their peace before sleep. They rewrite their story each night, turning pain into power and stress into strength. So tonight, before you drift into sleep, take a few minutes to reflect. Revisit the day not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. Find one thing to be proud of, one thing to release, and one thing to look forward to. As you do this, you'll feel a calm energy wash over you, the same peace the 1% feel every night. That peace becomes your secret weapon. It fuels your mornings with clarity, your actions with confidence, and your dreams with direction. Because when you go to bed with peace, you wake up with power. And that's how you stay ahead, not by doing more, but by carrying less. Consistency is what separates wishful thinking from real transformation. The 1% understand that success isn't built in sudden bursts of motivation, it's built in the quiet repetition of the right habits, night after night, day after day. That's why when they find something that strengthens their mind, body, or spirit, they don't do it once, they make it a routine. Their bedtime rituals aren't random acts of self-care. They're sacred practices that prepare their subconscious for growth. They've learned that the difference between ordinary and extraordinary lies in consistency. What you repeat becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes who you are. Every great achiever knows that discipline beats talent when talent refuses to be consistent. Most people want success, but few are willing to build the habits that create it. The truth is, consistency doesn't always feel exciting. Some nights you won't feel like reflecting, visualizing, or being intentional before bed. You'll feel tired, distracted, or emotionally drained. But the 1% push through those moments because they know that every repetition counts. Every night they choose discipline over distraction. They strengthen their mental muscle. It's in the moments when you don't feel like doing it that growth truly happens. The power of a consistent bedtime routine lies in the way it trains your subconscious mind to expect success. When you do the same positive actions each night, like reflecting on gratitude, visualizing goals, and releasing stress, your brain begins to associate night with peace, focus, and renewal. This consistency lowers anxiety, improves sleep, and makes mornings more productive. It's like watering a plant every day. You might not see immediate results, but over time, the growth becomes undeniable. The 1% treat their routines as non-negotiable. Just as brushing their teeth or setting an alarm is automatic, their mental preparation before sleep becomes second nature. They understand that the key to mastery is repetition. You can't expect your mind to stay strong if you feed it random energy. You can't expect your dreams to grow if you water them inconsistently. Consistency builds trust with yourself. Each night that you follow through on your routine, you're telling your mind, I'm reliable, I keep my word. That inner trust is what builds confidence. Consistency also transforms small actions into massive results. 10 minutes of intentional reflection before bed may not seem like much, but multiplied by months and years, it creates unshakable mental strength. It sharpens your focus, stabilizes your emotions, and aligns your energy toward your goals. The 1% understand that success compounds. Just as saving a small amount of money daily can grow into wealth, maintaining small positive habits each night can build a wealthy mindset. Over time, these consistent rituals become part of your identity. They're no longer something you do, they're who you are. The biggest challenge most people face isn't that they don't know what to do, it's that they can't stay consistent doing it. They start a routine with excitement, but stop the moment life gets busy or results don't come fast enough. The 1% see it differently. They understand that consistency is not about perfection, it's about persistence. Missing one night doesn't mean failure, but giving up entirely does. When life gets chaotic, they adjust their routine but never abandon it. Even if it's just a few minutes of gratitude or quiet visualization, they make sure their mind gets the message, we don't skip growth. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum builds mastery. Once a habit becomes automatic, it starts to carry you instead of you carrying it. That's the hidden magic of doing something repeatedly. At first, it takes effort. You have to remind yourself, discipline yourself, and sometimes force yourself. But soon, your brain rewires itself around the habit. It becomes natural. The 1% no longer need to convince themselves to focus before bed. It's just what they do, like breathing. Another powerful benefit of consistency is emotional stability. When your nights follow a predictable, peaceful rhythm, your nervous system begins to relax. Your body learns to associate bedtime with calm instead of chaos. Over time, you sleep better, think clearer, and wake up in control. The 1% know that consistency is not just about discipline, it's about emotional harmony. It creates balance in a world that's constantly changing. Building this kind of consistency requires intention. You must decide what actions matter most to you before sleep, whether it's writing down your goals, meditating, praying, or simply reflecting on your progress. Start small and make it sustainable. The secret is not doing a lot, but doing a little consistently. Success doesn't demand perfection, it demands persistence. Each night you stay true to your practice, you strengthen your inner discipline. There will be nights when you feel like skipping it. There will be distractions, exhaustion, or even doubt that it matters. But those are the exact nights when the habit matters most. That's when the 1% remind themselves why they started. They understand that every consistent action, no matter how small, is a deposit into their future success. They know that while others are wasting their nights on distractions, they are quietly investing in their destiny. Consistency also protects your energy. It removes decision fatigue because you no longer waste time wondering what to do before bed. You already know the process. This frees up mental space and allows your subconscious to rest and recharge more efficiently. The 1% live by the principle that structure creates freedom. When you build strong routines, you gain control over your mind and time. The transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, steady evolution. One day you'll look back and realize that your consistent nighttime discipline changed everything. You'll see how your mindset became sharper, your mornings calmer, and your confidence unshakable. It all began with doing the small things right, over and over, even when it wasn't easy. So tonight, make a promise to yourself. No matter how busy or tired you are, you'll honor your nighttime routine. You'll show up for your future self. Remember, success doesn't come from what you occasionally do. It comes from what you repeatedly do. The 1% understand this truth. That's why they're always one step ahead. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on consistency. And that's what makes them unstoppable. Every night, the 1% make a choice that separates them from the rest of the world. While most people end their day as consumers, scrolling through endless content, comparing their lives to others, and filling their minds with noise, the 1% end their day as creators. They use their nights not to absorb distraction, but to design direction. They understand that the final thoughts before sleep are powerful instructions to the subconscious mind. So instead of feeding it chaos, they feed it clarity. Instead of wasting energy on entertainment, they invest energy in creation, creating vision, belief, peace, and purpose. Most people underestimate how damaging it is to consume negativity right before bed. They scroll through social media, watch the news, or replay stressful conversations from the day. Their minds become crowded with other people's opinions, fears, and problems. Then they wonder why they wake up tired, unmotivated, and anxious. The truth is simple. What you put into your mind before sleep determines what your mind creates while you sleep. The 1% know this, so they guard that window of time with intention. They don't allow distractions to define their energy. They protect their focus like it's their most valuable asset, because it is. When you go to bed as a creator, you take control of your inner world. You decide what your mind will think about, what emotions you'll carry into sleep, and what kind of energy you'll wake up with. The 1% use those final minutes before sleep to create vision. They visualize the person they're becoming. They see their goals unfolding with clarity. They imagine success not as a fantasy, but as an inevitable outcome. This practice isn't just motivational, it's neurological. Your brain responds to images more powerfully than words. When you consistently feed it a vision of success, it begins to believe it's possible. Your subconscious then works through the night to align your thoughts, emotions, and decisions toward that vision. Creators don't need the world's approval before they believe in themselves. They build that belief internally, night after night. While others depend on external validation, the 1% cultivate inner conviction. They remind themselves of their purpose and their potential. They review their goals not with pressure, but with peace. They say to themselves, I am capable. I am moving forward. I am in control. They sleep with intention, not exhaustion. And because they program their minds with clarity, they wake up with focus. The 1% understand something crucial. Your energy is a limited resource. Every thought, every emotion, every distraction consumes it. So they choose to end their day recharging that energy, not draining it. Going to bed as a consumer drains your power. You give your attention to things that don't serve you. Going to bed as a creator recharges your power. You direct your attention toward your purpose. The more you repeat this nightly habit, the stronger your inner foundation becomes. You stop reacting to life and start designing it. There's also a deep spiritual strength that comes from creating before bed. When you silence the noise of the world and connect with your inner vision, you align with something greater than yourself. You move from chaos to calm, from distraction to direction. You begin to trust that your dreams are not random, they are guidance. You start seeing patterns and opportunities that others miss because your mind is no longer cluttered with distraction. That's why the 1% always seem one step ahead. They don't wait for clarity to come to them. They create it every night. Being a creator at night doesn't mean working late or constantly thinking about success. It means using those final moments of awareness to nurture your soul. The 1% might pray, meditate, or simply sit in gratitude. They ask themselves questions that shape their growth. What did I learn today? Who did I become today? What can I create tomorrow? These reflections plant powerful seeds of awareness that bloom into insight, motivation, and confidence. Their nights aren't just about rest, they're about renewal. When you go to bed as a consumer, your dreams are filled with noise, random images, worries, and distractions. When you go to bed as a creator, your dreams begin to align with your destiny. Your subconscious starts to organize your thoughts, solve problems, and prepare you for success. This is why the 1% often wake up with clarity and creative ideas. Their minds are working for them, not against them. They've trained themselves to end the day in control of their energy. The world we live in today constantly competes for your attention. Everything around you is designed to make you consume more content, more opinions, more fear. But the 1% refuse to live on autopilot. They use awareness as their shield. They know that if they let the world program them, they'll lose their identity. So they take their power back every night by being intentional with what they think, watch, and feel before bed. That's how they maintain focus in a world full of distraction. Imagine ending your day the same way the 1% do. You turn off your devices, sit in stillness, and think about what you're creating with your life. You remind yourself that every action, every choice, every thought is building your future. You take a deep breath and visualize where you're going, not where you've been. You feel gratitude for how far you've come and excitement for what's ahead. Then you fall asleep peacefully, knowing that your mind is working in harmony with your purpose. That's how creators sleep, calm, focused, and ready for growth. Over time, this nightly habit changes everything. You start noticing how your mornings feel different. You wake up with energy instead of anxiety. You begin to attract opportunities that align with your goals because your subconscious has been trained to seek them. You move with clarity instead of confusion. The small discipline of ending your day as a creator transforms your mindset, your confidence, and your results. So tonight, make a decision. Don't fall asleep as a consumer of chaos. Become a creator of calm. Choose to feed your mind vision, not noise. Focus on what you're building, not what you're scrolling. Remind yourself that your dreams deserve attention, your mind deserves peace, and your purpose deserves priority. Go to bed with intention. Wake up with direction. That's how the 1% live, by creating their future one peaceful night at a time.